Hey, everybody. Hey. It's your well woman practitioner, LaShanna Moore of Holistically Well Center. And this is a podcast episode on the Well Life TV through Holistically Speaking. I'm so excited to be with y'all. I got a lot of good stuff to share with you today. And we're going to be talking about low iron. So this is another Black woman's health special episode under my wellness health segment of the work that I do, which is for women in general. But there is a special place for us, for women. Let me make sure that you all can hear me and see me as well, because I just saw that my screen and my volume was low. So let me make sure you can hear me and see me. There we go. Bam! I think we are in session. I am trying to decide also what type of live stream service I want to go with, because there are a lot of them, because I have a really cute video intro to these episodes. And right now I'm not able to share it because I got to make a decision on who I want to go through. But at any rate, you get me directly. And I'm so thankful to be here with you. Make sure that you have subscribed if you haven't already, as well as the audio podcast, Holistically Speaking. And it's available on all digital platforms. You can find it there. Before we get started, we're going to have our We Treat moment. We Treat is an opportunity for us to come together and to take a deep breath and just to pause and to be still, because many times we're running and going and doing, just as I have been today, and you have to be mindful of not the quantity, but the quality of taking a breath. It's not how long you're able to meditate every day. It is making sure that you have a moment that you can dedicate to it. That may happen in the car. That may happen during your hibernation time when you're sitting in the garage waiting to decompress before you go in. It can be during your lunch break. It can be in transit. It doesn't have to be a set, uniformed, aesthetically correct place or time. It just has to be a moment that you take and you decide that you're going to. So I want to do that with us collectively, okay? We're going to take that moment at the beginning of this episode to do that. I want you to relax your shoulders and actively participate in it, okay? Instead of just watching to get to the nitty-gritty, because we will. But these opportunities, these moments are for you, because you know what your life is demanding of you every moment. So eyes open or closed, but relax your body, relax your jaws, relax the tension in your forehead, relax your teeth, relax your neck and your shoulders and your chest. I want you to inhale deep through your nose and then blow it out through your mouth. Good. I want you to do it again. Take in as much oxygen in your lungs as you can. Inhale deep. Blow it out intentionally through your mouth. And as you do, allow your body to relax and melt. Relax. This is for you. It is our goal and desire always that you are living well and living whole. And it doesn't take a lot to do it when we think about the small, deliberate things that we do every day that can contribute to that. All right, so that's my check-in with you. I pray that you're doing good. I pray that you're on this journey of teaching yourself to listen to your body, that you are loving on yourself, that you are amplifying your health, that you are speaking up for yourself, all of those good things. That's my check-in for you. And then I want to remind you as well, and I'll be doing this in these episodes leading up to our retreat, because in real time, we're getting ready for our Wellness We Treat 2023. If you are local or if you're on the outskirts of the city and you really feel impressed and pulled to attend, I do encourage you to. I firmly and confidently say that you will leave charged, transformed, changed from the inside out. We don't want to move from the outside in. We have enough of experiences in our lives where we're working from the outside in. We're putting on and we're wearing masks because we are tolerating and we are handling so much on the inside. I don't want you to implode, sisters. I want you to be able to align from the inside out. So this We Treat is going to be filled with so much. You can look in the show notes and go to the website, get all of the good 411 and register and come and be with us. Come and be with me. That's going to be available. It will not be virtual. It's going to be in person because there are some things that I want to make sure that are imparted in you directly. All right. So shall we get to this conversation about Black women and low iron? We shall. Before that, I have got to share a Black Bodice rant with you that it's going to empower you. It's good prevention and it's going to inform you. So listen up, because if you know anything about the Black Bodice film, and there she is right over there, my sign. Let me show you. There's Black Bodice. If you've not seen the film, I encourage you to see this film. It is available on live stream, Black Bodice TV. You pay what you want. Go and see this film. I had a Black Bodice moment today. I went to see my doctor. LVN comes in prior to my doctor to take my vitals and to get all the questions and all of that. You know how that goes. And then in the same cadence and the same tone, as she's sitting there on the computer typing stuff in, she says, "And where do you work?" And I stopped and I'm like, okay, I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. So I stumbled a minute and then I went on and answered it. She said, okay. She said, "Well, she's still working." She said, "I see you have a white coat on in your profile pic, and I just wondered where you worked." Okay. Rubbed me wrong. I'm sharing this on all my platforms, right? If you're following me anywhere, you will see a video of me talking about this. So I went on, had the visit with the doctor was fine. Check out. Another LVN comes in to share with me, prep for my next visit. And I just happened to ask her, I said, "Do you all in your protocol, is a part of the questioning to a patient where they work?" And she looked at me. She was like, "No, no, ma'am." I said, "I didn't think so." I said, "The LVN that was in here previously asked me where I worked." I said, "And she didn't skip a beat. It was right in the same cadence and tone of all the other medical questions." She said, "No." She said, "I'm sorry." She said, "That was inappropriate and I apologize." I said, "I thought so." So I kept my first mind and I found out who I needed to speak to and I reported it. And why did I report it? I reported it because, number one, it's inappropriate. Secondly, I think it made me think about those who may not have a voice to speak up for themselves. It made me think about Black Bodice. It made me think about why we need to have a voice. If something is not right, say something. If something doesn't feel right, say something. If you're not being handled or treated properly, say something. Y'all, that grinded my gears so bad. And I was like, I cannot wait to share this with you. Listen, every decision that you make to voice your concern is a move forward in this healthcare system. We are dealing with a lot. And whereas Black Bodice is about the dismission of Black women in healthcare, I cannot always say that it's Black against white, because there are times that we have had issues with our own. So my response to you is to make sure you have people who care about you, people who are listening to you. I thought about the special needs people. I thought about the elderly. I thought about people that may be more timid than myself. For one patient, me, it's you asking about my occupation. For someone else, it's something else that you say or you assume by looking at them and not knowing anything about them, because it happens. It happens every day. That's my Black Bodice rant, and I had to share that with you. Please go and see the movie. And make sure that you speak up for yourself. All right, let's get to this conversation about Black women and our iron. It is a commonly known issue, as well as the statistics. And I'm going to share the statistics with you in a moment. Having low iron can be a very emotional drag, an emotional issue and challenge, because you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling frustrated, and it will literally affect your day-to-day obligations, your day-to-day activity. You are pulling from everything you can within you in order to just make small things happen. That's one of the biggest effects of low iron. And iron deficiency, aka anemia, IDA, iron deficiency anemia, is very well known in the Black community. And I will say, as I always say to you, that you need a village for everything. I have my village of people. All of us, have our things that we are pursuing health and healing in. mindful of how I say stuff. We are pursuing health and healing, and we're not just staying with stigmas or diagnoses. We're not just living with that. Um, we're not just accepting dis-ease. We are on journeys of being well. I want you to remember that. I have my village of people that I call. And so my little low iron village, I may call them or text them and say, hey girl, it's one of those days, or got to get this done, this, and that. I had a blood transfusion a few years ago. I haven't had one since, but the journey of regulating this iron has been a ongoing thing. And now it's not about menstrual cycle because my menstrual has been regulated. So it's not about bleeding heavy for me. So I am making sure that I am staying vigilant and consistent with my health team on really getting to the bottom of what's going on. Hemoglobin is one of the numbers that your doctor will go through with you. So, number one, it is an emotional place to be in, and it's a physically challenging place to be in. And then, secondly, have your village of people. You know, I like bullet points. So I just wanted to summarize that. Let me say also that low iron can be associated with a lot of pre-existing issues as well. Black women, hear me well. Fibroids, PCOS, autoimmune disease, metabolic issues that cause a lot of inflammation in the body can be reasons that pull on your iron and keep your iron low, cause your iron to be constantly low. Pregnancy is also another area where a woman can experience very low iron. Most times with low iron, it will lead to anemia. And so we're going to talk about why that happens today. We're going to talk about where we are in terms of the progress of figuring out why this is. And also, I want to give you I want you to walk away with some takeaways on what to do. So, what are some of the symptoms of low iron? Well, you've got fatigue, extremely tired. This is how I define it or describe it. It feels like you are moving slow motion. That's how it feels for me. I'm moving through slow motion. I'm chopped and screwed. Your breathing can sometimes be labored. Your chest can be heavy. You may have a fast heartbeat. You can experience nausea and dizziness, brain fog, just a lack of clarity, restless leg syndrome. You have the leg. This happens to me sometimes where the leg is just, you're feeling this jitteriness and you got to shake it and you're constantly moving your leg to make adjustments. You're tired and you're weak, namely because you're lacking a lot of iron. And then in many cases, the certain parts of your body may be cold or you're experiencing coldness. There's another thing that tends to happen with some women with low iron is the pica syndrome, and that's the urge to chew a lot of ice or the urge to chew odd things like paper, salt, sand, chalk, things like that. That can be a result of having low iron. So it is important that you recognize those symptoms, that we're learning to listen to our body, that ladies, we stop pushing through. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna see live for a minute. Listen to me and hear me well. Stop it. You serve no purpose by putting yourself on the back burner, by normalizing abnormalities. You serve no purpose. You are no good to yourself or anyone else if you're trying to push through these things. By the time your hemoglobin is down to like a 4 or a 3, baby, you are in critical, fatal condition. And we should have, I've noticed that the number ranges 1 digit on the bottom, 1 digit on the top, usually ranges, but between 12 to 18 milligrams per deciliter. That's where we should be. That's where we should average, between 11 to 17, 12 to 18, because I said there's usually a digit change, a digit difference. But that's the range that we should be in. Anything under that, we're losing iron. And it is important that you talk to your doctor, your health team, your hematologist, get those labs done so that your doctor can go through all of those numbers with you: red blood cells, white blood count, hemoglobin, hematocrit, platelets, all of those things. You know what is going on. And if, let's say by chance, labs come back normal, but you are not feeling normal and you know something is right, get a first, second, third, fourth opinion. Press the issue. Press the issue until you get an understanding of what is going on with you. That is your right in life. That is your right as a human. That is your right as a patient. One of the things as Black women with low iron that I need to alert us to is that many times, ladies, we are dealing with metabolic syndrome. Now, this is an issue that I'm going to be talking about quite a bit in a lot of episodes because metabolic syndromes will overlap with a lot of different things. It will also have common symptoms and signs as other things that you can be dealing with. But metabolic syndrome is very common in Black women. We deal with high blood pressure, stroke, high blood sugar, diabetes, heart disease, excess body fat, your adipose tissue, and your visceral fat. Visceral fat, that is the hidden fat that wraps around the organs. I talked about that in a previous episode. We deal with that a lot. We deal with a lot of estrogen modulation, especially with estriol. And then we also deal with a lot of metabolic issues that will agitate pre-existing situations. You've got high triglycerides, your HDL, which is considered your good cholesterol, is low. Your high fasting, you have high fasting glucose. Your blood sugar is out of control. All of these different things tend to dominate in the Black woman in the Black community, and you will wear yourself out trying to do all of the things, to diet, to work out hard. That whole adage of go hard or go home that I loathe. Getting injections, trying all of these different things. Listen, you will wear yourself out if you don't understand first things first, which is, am I dealing with poor metabolic health? You've got to get to the bottom of that. And let me say this as well. A lot of athletes can be dealing with oxidative stress, can have inflammation and not realize it. So it's not always about how you look on the outside. That's another Black Bodice moment. That a doctor that looks at you on the outside and assumes that you don't exercise or that you don't try to eat well. I say healthy, you try to eat well, that you don't do these things. So we can never really go by the outside. You need to do first things first, and from that foundation is where you will then begin to order steps of wellness. Your team making a notation of what you feel. Try to date it when you can. Learning how to articulate yourself to your doctor. Going through the labs with your doctor. Ask all of the questions. 16.2%, listen to this stat, 16.2% Black women have lower hemoglobin as compared to 3.9% of white women who had less than normal range. We are more, I think it is 4 times more likely to experience low iron. Predisposition, pre-existing situations, metabolic syndrome. Here's the other one, your health. Are you deficient in B vitamins, in vitamin C, in B12? Are you eating enough vitamins and minerals in your foods? We know that health disparity, food deserts are really a serious thing. Y'all, it is not an excuse. It's real. We know that financial hardship is hard. So you're not always able to grocery shop the way that you want to, which means what? You're getting what you can for less. It may not always have most of the vitamins and minerals that you need. You don't have access to insurance. We know, unfortunately, right now in this country's healthcare system, it's a tragic, ratchet mess. And so you do what you can with what you can. What I am going to advise you to do is get all of the resources, all of the assistance, all of the help in your city that you can. Look it up, look them up, because we know many times they're looking at what you input. They're looking at paperwork. They're looking at numbers. And a lot of you who really need the help are considered unqualified for the help because they say you make too much, and we know there's a lie. You know, that is not always true. That is not always the case. Even people who are making well have issues that sometimes insurance does not cover, or they have to come out of pocket. These premiums and these deductibles are a mess. So while we're in the state that we're in and we're working by way of voting locally, do that. Voting nationally, do that. Seeing what's going on in your community, do that. While we're working on those things, get all of the resources and assistance that you can. Okay. It's important that you recognize these symptoms so that you can have proper conversation with your doctor. Foods, I was just talking about foods. I want to give you just a general rule of thumb. You don't have to take out a scale and start measuring food. You don't have to count calories. I'm going to say it again. You don't have to count calories. I'm going to say it again. You don't have to count calories. And I have a podcast episode on calories and not fearing them and really understanding what they are, which is calories are just a unit measure of energy. It's an audio podcast. Please go and listen to it. The better armed you are, the better you can make choices about your health. What do I always say, baby? This is personal care. It's not general. You are wonderfully made. You can't go by what somebody else is doing or what they've done for them. It worked for them. You may need something completely different. So you don't have to take out a scale for this. You don't have to measure calories. Be mindful. Here's one way that you can, by nutrition, make sure that your iron doesn't drop. Ask yourself these questions. Am I eating enough throughout the day, whole foods, my vegetables, dark leafy vegetables, colorful vegetables? They have a lot of vitamins and minerals in them. Your lean proteins, whatever your eating preference is. There's no hierarchy. There's no right or wrong. It's political. Am I eating enough proteins throughout the day? Am I getting enough healthy fats throughout the day? Do I have complex carbs in my diet? When it comes to carbs, they are not evil. Sometimes it's about knowing what phase of life you're in to understand how to eat your carbohydrates. Not so many simples, but your complex carbs, your grains and your fibers, and knowing how your body digests and metabolizes them. Do I have a fruit here and there? Am I hydrating my body with water? These are the questions that you ask yourself to make sure that at least with nutrition, I'm doing my part. And then secondly, supplementation. If you know that you tend to be low in iron, then go ahead and get on a supplement. Talk to your health professional about it. A pure iron element, liquid element, if you prefer liquid. Let me say this to you holistically. Once your hemoglobin has dropped to a certain critical number, you cannot eat your iron back up. You cannot supplement your iron back up. It is time at that point for a transfusion or an infusion. Probably a transfusion if you're under 5. So that's a prevention supplement. Then know your history, know your maternal history, the history on your mother's side, know your history, what to look out for, and the signs of all of that. Make sure that you're doing what you can do. Usually, like my vegan and vegetarian clients, they do have a harder time with consuming iron or with maintaining iron because the DNA and the synapses in food in vegetables is different than animal protein. And I know that this topic will stay controversial until the end of time. It just will. But in the time that I have been doing the work that I have been doing, I've seen a lot. And so there are times that, those who are vegan and vegetarian and are, adamant of staying that way have to look at getting iron supplementation and getting iron in other ways. Now, whereas we would recommend nutritionists, dietitians would recommend high fortified iron foods like steak and like grass-fed beef, like liver. Liver is another good one. I can't stand liver. My mother loved liver. She sauteed them onions and put a little sauce on them. But if we have to do what we have to do, we have to do what we have to do. We want to make sure that we keep our idea of wellness flexible and pliable so that whatever decisions need to be made at the time and phase in life that it needs, then you do that. And I think that that's what helps. Hey there. I think that that's what helps us really be well and be whole here first before we can even be well and be whole here. Those dietary changes are often necessary. If you have heavy periods, that's another reason that you can be losing iron. Make sure that you have that conversation with your doctor. In this enlightening era that we are in, we do understand that we don't have to have heavy periods and that heavy periods are not normal. Whatever the case may be, talk to your doctor about that. Then there are times that there may be unknown internal bleeding. And there are not always signs of this. If you're over 40, if you're 40 plus, it's time for it's time for a colonoscopy. And I'm gonna try to say this word right. Endoscopy. It's time for those things. Let your healthcare team take care of you until you get to the bottom of what's going on. I think that is the gist of what I want to share. I want you to understand that you're not out of your head, that as a Black woman, many times low iron, as well as other things that I'll share in other episodes, we do have a different experience in. Sometimes it is medical, sometimes it's predisposition, sometimes it's your history, sometimes it's pre-existing issues. As I mentioned, fibroids, PCOS, lupus, inflammation, metabolic syndrome. I've talked about that. These are things that we need to be aware of and spend the time to understand. Get to know your body. That's going to be my closing. Get to know your body and allow yourself to process that and to journey through that. You know, we have this idea, we have this image in health and well-being that everything is just a yoga movement away, or a matter of thinking positive, or a supplement away, or a juice away. It's not like that. I'm a practitioner and I'm telling you now, it's not like that. It's not just within an herb. All of these things collectively build and assist and elevate in a good life. But it is not as easy as, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to drink this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to stretch this way, I'm going to work out, I'm going to adopt this, I'm going to have this injection, I'm going to have this procedure, I'm going to do this, and everything's going to be great. It doesn't work that way. We journey to living well and living whole. And in that, we find grace, we find joy, we find peace, we find laughter, we find fulfillment, we find our tribe, we find our village, we find good health teams. We are able to attack some things in our community, locally, nationally, in legislation. We're able to do all that. That is the journey of being well and being whole. All right. I'll include some things by disclaimer medically in terms of supplements in the show notes that you can consider. But as with all things, this is not meant to treat, cure, or prescribe or diagnose. Always have a health team that you can have dialogue with, talk with them. If you're one of my clients, you already know we go through your labs. I've got to know your history. I've got to get to know you. That is an important part of me understanding how to direct and how to lead you. All right, ladies, be well and be whole. Take a deep breath. It is well, and you are well, and all things will be okay. Do your part. Let your healthcare team do their part, and let God do the rest. Until the next time, thank you for watching. Be well and be whole.